Hi all, it's Paul. I'd like to talk to you today about thought stopping. What is thought stopping? Thought stopping involves recognizing unwanted or intrusive thoughts and implementing strategies to disrupt their ongoing presence. The technique operates on the principle of interrupting the cognitive cycle by introducing a deliberate interruption or distraction. And it's important to note that thought stopping doesn't aim to eradicate thoughts entirely, but to lessen their impact and prevent them from spiraling into distress or compulsive behaviours. These thoughts can range from harmful beliefs to persistent worries that interfere with daily function and your well-being. And thought stopping is particularly useful in addressing conditions like anxiety, compulsive disorders, and negative thinking patterns. First of all, you need to recognize when you're getting negative, unwanted thoughts. And this involves becoming self-aware and learning techniques to recognize when you have these intrusive thoughts. Then to identify triggers or clues that precede the thought. These triggers could be a specific situation, a certain person, an emotion, an environmental factor, something that's going to trigger that way of thinking. So you learn to know that you're about to have a bad thought and what's going to trigger it. And then you need to get an intervention strategy and get in there, intervene, stop that thought, and this is how you do that. There are 4 different ways you should try. So first is thought redirection. So you immediately replace intrusive thoughts with neutral or positive mental images. You could use a phrase, an affirmation, try and visualize a calming scene, repeat an affirmation statement that you've previously written and rehearsed. Focus on a specific goal or an aspiration you might have. But you want to change the negative thought to a positive thought, something happy, something joyful, something you look forward to. So the opposite of the negative thought. Second would be a physical action, but this would be for a more severe case. A physical action would employ a sensory interruption to disrupt the thought pattern. This might include a rubber band around your wrist that you'd snap it, or clapping your hands, stomping a foot. The physical sensation serves as a clue to halt the intrusive thought. The third way would be thought replacement. That is where you consciously replace a negative thought with a more constructive or realistic alternative. You challenge the irrational belief by questioning how valid is this negative thought? Why am I thinking this? And then you change that negative thought for a better perspective, a better way of thinking. Also, something you've predetermined, that when you have that way of thinking, you go stop and you say that I shouldn't be thinking this, I know it's not true, I know what I should be thinking, and then you start thinking that way. The fourth way will be to engage in a task. You want to shift the focus into something that's absorbing, something that you're going to have to concentrate on and get involved in. So it's basically going to shift your whole thinking into a different pattern altogether. Now, none of this is easy. It all takes practice, and over time it'll get better and better. But consistently apply thought stopping techniques in various contexts and different situations. Gradually increase the complexity of the intensity of the practice to strengthen the cognitive control and your resilience, and then monitor your progress and adjust your strategies based on your own preferences or effectiveness. Any change you want to do about your thinking or the mind takes time and takes practice, and you have to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. Repetition is the name of the game here. What you're doing is rewiring your neural pathways, basically. Think of this image. Think of a field of grass, and you're walking through that field. Think of that like a neural pathway, and you walk the same path every day. And over time, the grass will get more and more walked on and more trod down, and you'll have a visual path. And that's what a neural pathway is like. It's the mind is a muscle, and you have to work that muscle like any other muscle in the body. The more you work it, the stronger it's going to get, and the better performance you're going to get from it. So negative thinking takes time to stop and to turn around. Thought stopping is a great way to stop the negative thinking straight away before it gets out of control or leads to overthinking, and then you get anxiety and depression. Here's a few tips for success. Consistency and persistence is number one. Establish a routine for practicing thought stopping techniques, even during moments of low distress. Consistent application strengthens neural pathways associated with the cognitive control and your resilience. It'll give you focus and it'll give you discipline. You have to take a self-compassionate and patient approach, because you need to embrace setbacks as opportunities for growth rather than signs of failure. Visualization and imagery, incorporate those techniques. They can enhance effectiveness through redirection. Practice and create a vivid mental image of a preferred outcome or a positive situation to use as your counterbalance to a negative situation. And then when you're thinking something negative, you go stop, no, and you visualize that instantly. And that'll help redirect your thinking. You need to acknowledge your own progress and give yourself a pat on the back when you start to realize that you are able to do this and you're able to use the thought stopping process. Don't be negative with yourself if it doesn't work the first few times, because it takes time and it takes practice and it'll take control. But when you get it, you're going to be able to use it all the time. It takes ongoing effort, commitment. You have to remind yourself the benefits of managing that way of thinking and to stay motivated and continue practicing the techniques day after day. Everything with the mind, the subconscious, the changing of attitudes, the changing of behaviours, repetition is key. The thought stopping process is going to improve your emotional regulation by interrupting the escalation of negative thinking, because you're going to be able to control your negative thinking more, and you're going to be able to stop your negative thinking when it arises. You will become good at challenging your irrational thought patterns through repeated practice. Some more advanced options would be to incorporate labeling techniques where intrusive thoughts are mentally categorized or labeled based on their content or emotional impact. This cognitive distancing strategy promotes objectivity and detachment, reducing the emotional potency of the intrusive way of thinking. The thought stopping process in general, it's a dynamic and it's versatile. It's a different approach to managing intrusive thinking and promoting your own cognitive well-being. So next time you're starting to think negative, I want you to use this process. So to recap, the first step is to become aware of unwanted thought patterns. Second step is to identify the triggers, the clues that precede these thought patterns. The third step is to stop and redirect your way of thinking. They're the three simple steps. It will take practice, it will take focus, discipline, control. The benefits of being able to control your negative thinking are huge. They will change the person that you are. You will be much more in control of what you're doing and the way you approach situations. I hope this works for you. Give it a go and believe in yourself. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.